All right, my friends. So one of the questions I get a lot from you all is whether or not you should pay down your mortgage or save. I'm going to share with you what's going on with me right now as the example of why you should not pay down your mortgage until you have significant amount of money saved. All right, so just be advised. You're going to hear this. Now, remember, I said don't pay it down. Now, if you can pay it off, that's different. If you can pay it off, that's different. But paying it down means you still have a mortgage. You don't have enough to pay it off. I don't think you should do that. I think you got to have a significant amount of money put aside before you pay down your mortgage. All right, so hear me out. So basically, I've been doing YouTube for 4 years. I've done almost 5,000 videos. Lots of words that come out of this rabble rouser mouth of mine. And at some point, you're going to do something, say something that somebody says, "Oh my goodness, I can't believe this," and you're bound to step out of the community guidelines at some point. There's no other way around that. Now, what are the community guidelines? They're kind of subjective, if that makes sense. And I made money off YouTube, man. I mean, I can't believe. Hell, man, I was hoping to make enough to pay my mortgage. The last couple of months, I've been making enough to pay off my mortgage twice over. It's crazy. Just me, my yellow teeth, my T-shirt, my dogs, nothing fancy. But obviously, people like what I'm talking about, so it's great. But again, you're gonna, the financial industry, you're taking anytime you're rattling cages, you're gonna take somebody off. There's no other way around that. So the issue that comes to mind is what happens if your YouTube channel gets taken down? What happens if your primary source of income gets taken down? So for me, let's just put it this way. For me, because I still have books, I have enough of you guys that are still in the hopper to do financial planning. I have a course out there. This isn't my only, in fact, YouTube by far and away is not my primary source of revenue. But if I don't have my YouTube channel, my primary source of revenue, which is doing financial planning, would drop pretty significantly, pretty quickly, if that makes sense. And so, just as an FYI, make sure you subscribe to my newsletter. Make sure you sign up for my other channel at Josh Scanlon, just in case something were to go awry, if that makes sense. I mean, look, man, it's inevitable. In fact, it's interesting too because YouTube just put out, starting tomorrow, June 1st, they're going to start removing a lot of channels out there that are not commercially viable. I always thought that was only a matter of time they start doing that. I mean, because they can't have everybody and their mom just put up content on there for free. I mean, someone's got to pay the server farms, and server farms aren't cheap. They take a hell of a lot of electricity as well. And Google can't. I mean, Google's still a for-profit company, man. They can't just give it away on YouTube and say, "Hey, put a YouTube channel up." If you only got 25 subscribers and no one has bought and no one's watching your thing, they can't do that. So. Point being, is only a matter of time. So YouTube is starting to crunch down a little bit, and so you can see what's going to happen. I mean, they're going to crunch down on content that they don't approve of from the Silicon Valley, the powers that be. They're going to start crunching on content that isn't performing commercially for them. Whatever that means, who knows? Look, man, they can go after Steven Crowder. They can go after anybody. If they can remove Donald Trump, they can remove anybody. It's just that simple. And so what happens, just think about it, what happens if your line of income, YouTube or freaking jackhammering or whatever, gets taken away? And what happens, and instead of saving money, you've been putting money against your mortgage. So now instead of having $250,000 in mortgage debt, now you only have $200,000. That's great, right? I mean, that's fantastic, except now you lose your job. Well, that $50,000 you could have used to put food on the table. How are you going to use that $50,000 was tied up in equity in your home? You have no income. How are you going to get a second mortgage? How are you going to get a home equity line of credit? How are you going to refinance? How are you going to get equity out of your home if you have no source of income? How is that going to happen, man? And the question is, it can't happen because no bank's going to loan to you if you got no income. But you have $50,000 of extra equity. Well, that's great, but you still have the same mortgage payment. You see what I'm saying? Now, if you're going to pay the whole thing off, that's great. But you still have that same $2,000 a month mortgage, but now you got no income. Yes, you have $50,000 extra equity, but you can't tap into that $50,000 extra equity until you sell your house because you have no income. You need health care. Where's the health care going to come from? You got to pay for it. Well, I got equity. Well, good luck. Good luck putting that collateral up against your health care bill. It won't matter. They're not going to loan you money against your home with no income. So don't pay down pay down. Don't do that. That's why Dave Ramsey's snowball is so freaking perfect. Pay down your smallest debt to remove that payment focus on the second smallest. That's to remove that payment. That's the snowball. Is a stroke of genius by Dave Ramsey. But don't freaking pay off the thing that's you make payments towards that. And I'm doing an extra $1,500 a month towards my mortgage. I'm putting an extra $1,500 a month towards my investment. So my liquidity is building up. That's great. But not to the extent that if I lost my primary source of revenue via YouTube and via the people who hire me, I mean, I'm going to have to dip into that. Well, thankfully, I have enough now because I've made so much money in the last couple of years. So when I say so much money, it's not millions of dollars, trust me. But it's more than I ever thought. It's more than I was making at USA. And I was making pretty good money at USA. You guys know how much I was making at USA. And if you would have told me I was like, that's crazy. But here I am. Literally, it's true. Here I am. And it happened. No, it's still Josh. I'm stunned. We give a lot of money away, too, by the way. We tip, we give a lot of money away because it's not our money. God doesn't need our money, but God's people do. And if God's going to grant me, for some reason, money, we're going to give that away. I mean, look, trust me, we're not frugal. I can tell you that. We're not miserly. But man, when you're given, to whom much is given, much is expected. And I know, I just gave $2,000 to the $2,500 to the Cherry Hill Pregnancy Center. Options for women at Cherry Hill, because I know, man, if it comes through I'm the steward of God's money, if that makes sense. And if God grants you money, you better be a good steward for his money, because he doesn't need it, but he needs to see how you manage it if he's going to give you more. And if you're going to be the parable of the talent where you're not investing it in God's kingdom, you're just hiding it because you're worried that he's going to chastise you, man, that's not good. So if you're given the golden goose, you better freaking not kill that golden goose by hiding it under a bushel. You better be put it to work so you can say, hey, look what I've done with your money, God. I've helped out people. I put a smile on people's faces. I've done that because I am the steward of your assets. I am not the owner. You are the owner. And you don't need me to give you money, God. You need me to show you that I'm trustworthy as a steward of your financial management, essentially. I'm a steward of your financial resources. I'm telling you, I firmly believe that. Read the Randy Alcorn book, The Treasure Principle. Oh my goodness, the best book I've ever read when it comes to finances by far. Short book too, The Treasure Principle. Fantastic. You are the steward of God's resource. You are essentially the investment manager for God. And God exactly tells you how to do it when you look at the parable of the talents. I'm just telling you, it all flows together. It's amazing. It's amazing. Loving Jesus is the best thing that ever happened. If loving the Lord is wrong, I don't want to be right. Anyway, going back to this, the issue though that comes down to mind. What happens if that primary source of income where you're making more than you thought, more than you need to pay off your minimum payment, stops? And you've been plowing money. And then you look around and you're like, oh man, I still have my car loan. I still got my credit card. I still got my house there. I owe less, but I don't have enough to pay any of these guys off. Oof. You got to follow the Dave Ramsey thing like that. Just say slowly, pay it down, get it off. That way it frees up cash flow. Pay it down, get off the balance sheet to free up cash flow. That's what you got to do. If you can't pay it off, don't pay it down until you get a significant amount of money sitting on a side account. I tell you, man, $100,000 is the way to do it. There's no magic reason for $100,000. Maybe you only need 50. I got 4 kids, basically one income. I need $100,000. $100,000 in cash liquidity where I have easy access to it. That's huge for me. Now, that'll be, not just $100,000 in a checking account. Most of that would still be invested at M1. Even so, I'm willing to go with a 30% decline because I won't need $100,000 in any given year. I could spend it. Don't get me wrong. But if things went to hell in the handbasket, I'd say, okay, I got enough. Even if I'm down to $100,000, $70,000, that we can pay the mortgage, we can freaking pay the electricity bill and all that. We won't be able to take a vacation. We won't be able to spend as much, but we'll be able to get by for at least a year. Or not, or more, without even doing anything else, without having to sell our house or anything. So for me, it's $100,000 I need in liquid assets, banking and investments I have access to. Not IRA money, mind you, not 401k, but assets I can have access to easily. And that's the way you got to think. So look, man, I'm not saying don't pay down your principal. I've been doing that, but don't do it at the extent of not having enough on a side account that you can tap into if that income stream were to stop. All right. Love to hear your thoughts. We'll see you.